Hello, everyone. I am so pleased and happy to be here with you again. Welcome to one more session of the Iman Show. My name is Iman, and I will be your host here. In the next 90 minutes, we are going to talk about you and your life. If you want to join, you are more than welcome to do. And if you have a share, this is going to be your platform. I feel much better today. Thank you all for all the beautiful love messages that you send me and wish me get better soon. I mean, that was has happened, and yeah, I feel much better today. And yeah, let's go. Let's see that what is going on in your life and what do you want to talk about today. We are now live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Oh dear, TikTok. Yeah, I'm glad you're here, TikTok. Thank you. So let me activate the guest feature on TikTok. And yeah, thank you so much. Mhm. From all around the world, people are joining from Thailand to Mexico to the US and everywhere. Miami, Canada, Wisconsin. Mm, okay. And hi, hi, hi. Hello. Mauritius. I mean, I didn't even know that the country named Mauritius even exists before I started my TikTok, but I have a lot of good friends from there now. India, yeah. So we have a couple of friends already in the list, but the topic is on you. If you want to share, if you want some kind of like consultation, if you want to talk about anything, kind of like coaching, whatever you want, this is a platform for you. And ciao. Let's see how things will unfold today. We have a list of people. Some people are new friends. I don't know. Desi, if you're here, please leave a comment if you want to join. So I will. Okay, so Desi left. And I don't know, Patrick, if you want to join, please leave a comment so I can pin your comment and then you can join. If anyone else wants to join here, Rose, Rose is here. Hello from Turkey. Hello, Turkey. It's what time is it now in Turkey? It's like 5 a.m., 4 a.m. Hmm. Well, so we will wait for a couple of minutes because I'm sure that more friends are now joining. It's just the beginning. Yeah. Honestly, sometimes I read the comments. I don't know what to say. I mean, okay. Wow. Yeah. Hello.
Hello,
Hello. Hi.
how are you?
You're in way back home?
I am back home.
Yeah.
Yes, I just arrived yesterday and slept all day.
Great. Great. How was it? How did you have fun?
A lot of fun.
Awesome.
But that time that I spoke with you, I was in an American bar. We
Mm-hmm.
were like very excited because we find in the middle of the wood, we found an American bar and everybody was watching the American football. So when my son walked in, they go, hello, and spoke English.
Mm.
I go, how the hell you know you're Americans? And they said, oh no, by the way your son looks. So we were very euphoric.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you, doctor?
I'm good. Thank you so much. The thing that you just mentioned, American football, it's not football. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm Christian.
Yeah.
That's
This is not football. The thing is, they don't play it with the foot, and the thing is not even a ball. So just it's out of the context. But yeah.
go explain that to an American person.
Yeah, I don't want to go there. So what do you want to share today? What do you want to talk about?
Um, I was very stressed, and remember we spoke last time about the expectation on people and how to deal with that when you
Mm-hmm.
get disappointed. And one of the things you mentioned was to lower your expectation. That's the hardest thing I found in my whole entire life to do.
Mm-hmm.
To control yourself and lower your expectation on somebody, regardless who it is. I am practicing. I feel good about it. It's slowly, but it's a process.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy. I'm working on it.
That was actually my next question. You already answered it. Do you consider yourself that someone is usually happy
I am happy,
in general? Are you always happy?
very happy. I am a happy person, but sometimes I allow people to hijack. Like you say something very interesting. You said losing your day because somebody gave you a bad moment is like fire your apartment because you mad
Angry
at
with
your
your
neighbor.
neighbor. Yeah.
You nip on the butt. That was amazing for me. because I have issues. I know. My only problem. I'm a happy person. I love my life. I'm always in control of everything. I plan, execute, a checklist on my work and everything. But I still have difficult and deal with lower my expectation. That's my problem. So 2022, I'm working on that. Lower my expectation.
Yeah, yeah, and because I really appreciate you, I want to make a change here. I want you to plan to remove two words from your vocabulary in 2022. One is expectation that you said that you're working on it because our happiness is equal the reality minus expectation. The more you expect, the less you're happy, regardless as what is the reality. And the second one, which is actually uh, an illusion, is control. The idea of that we can control is just an illusion. There are millions, if not billions, things are happening in 1 second all around the world that can impact our life. And the idea that I can control the simplest things in my life is just an illusion. Everything just happen the way that it must happen, and you just keep it in balance and go with the flow. Forget about the control. I mean myself, I used to be like a control freak, but the more you dive deep, you realize that there's no such a thing as control. So when you remove these two illusions, expectations and control, you will have much happier life. Yeah, I have my own definition of a happiness. I think happiness is a sense of accomplishment. Like when you plan something, you accomplish, you are happy. So I don't think there is somebody that can tell you, "Oh, I'm a happy person per se," but you can say, "I am in balance. I'm, a center head person, and I am a happy person. I am." However, set control was like, for example, I like to plan my year, but I always know that if something happened, I'm happy still. If I can't do it because the universe has its own schedule, right? But I like to be in control in the way, like I like to plan few things and I like to accomplish. I like to plan and execute. And I haven't planned much because I've been very sick on the past 2 years with my stomach and with many other things. Remember, I mentioned to you I had breast cancer a couple months ago and I had surgery. So I'm okay. It's not a big deal, but I love to travel and that's my passion. And I have been unable to travel for the past 2 years for many different reasons. So this year, I already planned. So that's why I mentioned I am in control. Just that I plan a few things to do. If it can happen, good. Bravo. If it doesn't, then we move on. Because I know what you just said, in my opinion, it must change your definition of happiness. The sense of accomplishment is just the sense of accomplishment. It's not happiness. Happiness is your birthright. When you look at children, when you look at like a 1-year-old baby, they are happy by nature. Unhappiness is something that you must look for the reason why I am unhappy. When a baby cries, they probably have a wet diaper or they're hungry or there's something like bothering them. When you resolve the problem, they will bounce back to happiness. Accomplishment is a result of a try. If if it happens or not. If happens, super. If not, it's okay. The actual fact that you already tried your best, it will increase your self-love. But happiness has nothing to do with accomplishment. In this new society that they created for us, like 200 years ago, maybe university degrees and different cars, they had no idea what does it even mean. So happiness would equal to how many wars have you attended, or how many wars have you been, like, have you overcome, or how many battles, or how many wives do you have, or how many castles have you conquered. The meaning of accomplishment is changing every day. And happiness that is your birthright cannot be dependent on something that is changing every day. Success and happiness are two different things. I believe that's my.
I'm gonna enter an elevator, so we might get
okay. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for joining. We will discuss later. It's always nice to talk to you, and hopefully we can talk more about all this stuff again later.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
See, we have people who join from elevators, from parking, and that is how we do it. Okay. And since now we have more audience here on Facebook and YouTube, if you want to join, you can also click on this, let's see, the link that I just shared on the comment section. You can simply click on the link and join the queue, and then you will join the talk if you want. And yes, we have Punita ready to join. Hello. Hi. Thank you. Is echo with the voice. Echo. Oh. Take your time. Take your time. Don't panic. Don't panic.
Okay.
This is not the international studio, BBC studio. It's just me sitting here waiting for you, and there are like fork and knife on the wall. On the wall, yeah. Are you in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you, Dr. Big fan of yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's start with your name. What's your name?
My name is Punita.
Punita. Where are you connecting from, Punita?
I'm from Delhi, India.
Delhi, India. How is everything in India?
Just Omicron is spreading very fast, and lockdown is here. Yeah.
So the Omicron is spreading fast and it's super contagious, but the good news is that it's not that aggressive, and it might be the key to mass immunization, or maybe self-immune kind of thing. So if mass society, they be infected with less, let's say, symptoms, they probably will be immune for upcoming next variants. That is a possibility virology. I don't know. So, what do you want to talk about?
I just want to be in your conversation actually. I'm a big fan of yours, as you know. You are so inspiring many through social media. I'm one of them. And you know, my elder son is planning to for further study in Canada. He was saying when I'll go to Canada, I'll meet Dr. Iman and tell him that my mother is your fan.
Thank you.
So I was thinking, yeah, I will also maybe someday we'll go to Canada and of course we'll meet you.
I hope so. I'm always happy to see. It has happened for me sometimes that I meet some friends uh, outside. The other day, I was actually in the car, and the driver said, "Oh, I know you. You're the guy." I said, yeah, I'm the guy. Yeah. So it's kind of like it's funny for me too. But yeah, so I noticed that you do work around wellness and you do some
Yeah.
coaching stuff. So do you want to talk about that? What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, actually, I'm working with this organization called Herbalife. So I just joined it as a part time. But
Mm-hmm.
after joining that, I then started again my study of nutrition and dietitian. Because I'm 38, I'm just, I want to pursue something because of my kids. My second pregnancy was I have twins and they were, dyslexic and hyperactive also. So I have to give up everything just to focus on them. And now they are 12 years, 13 years old. And, so now I thought I should start something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I just joined it as a part time, and now I'm studying my nutrition and dietetics also and helping people to, for the betterment of their health.
Beautiful. That's great. Are you aware of the opportunity, the I don't know, the shout out opportunity that I have on my Instagram account?
Yeah,
So are you going to make a video for that? Because uh, the offer was on for December, but I extended the offer for ever. So it means that whenever any of you guys make a video, put it on your story and talk about your business, I will reshare it in my story once, and
yeah, I
it
know
will
that.
be on forever. So whenever you do this, I will be happy to do so.
Well, I'm also happy that you mentioned me in your stories. That's also a big thing for me. And I have mentioned many times your videos. They are so inspirational on my story. Also, the people used to ask me, who is this man? I said, I'm big therapist, Dr. Iman from Canada. And some people of mine, they're also following you. I love it. I love your videos. I love your, motivational, anything you have posted.
Thank
If
you.
I like it, I just make it post on my story also.
Thank you so much. You mentioned me in your story. I mentioned you in my story. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're even now. Well, thank you so much. If there's anything else you want to share, if it's anything you want to talk
Uh,
about.
just want to say one thing. Right now you are discussing about the happiness. So I have gone through many things in my life also. But I think that's my thinking that happiness is a choice. If you want to be happy, choose to be happy, and then you will start making time for yourself. It's a me time, and especially it's very important for the woman. So then you will start evolving more new things, and then you will get to know the solution of your problems.
Hmm.
So that's my thinking. Choose to be happy, and rest will everything will sort out.
Thank you.
That's my experience.
Happiness is a choice, and this is a fact. And
Yeah,
sometimes when you say this, you probably will lose about 15% of your audience, but
yeah,
it is what it is. Happiness is
yeah,
a choice, and being unhappy does not make anything better. That is a fact.
yeah. That's true.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining, and thank you for the courage.
One second. Let me do the screenshot, please.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Well, thank you. From India. I have actually so many good friends from India. I'm so happy for that. And thank you, Nitu. Thank you, Larry. I'm reading some comments on Facebook as well. And let's see. Yeah, we have the. Sorry, I guess I just hit the mic. Yeah. Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, thank you for joining.
I am so happy to join you. Thank you for accepting my request. How are you?
Absolutely. I was looking for this opportunity because I noticed that you really want to join a couple of times. I received your message and I just, okay, this is a time.
Yes.
Would you please introduce yourself first?
Yes. First of all, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you.
I am joining from the USA. I'm living in New Jersey, but I am originally from Brazil.
Brazil. I didn't get your name precisely. It's Dee?
Oh, yes. My name is Dea.
Dea. Okay.
Dea. Yes. Dea. D-E-A.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So I am a mom of 5. I am going to be 57 years old this year. I am a COVID survivor. I was really sick last year in April, was hospitalized twice.
Wow.
I have my own podcast called Love Most, the podcast with Dea. And I'm also a women's empowerment coach. So it's something that I created. And during the pandemic, I thought, what do I really want to do when I come out of this, right? And particularly after COVID is when I decided to launch my podcast. While the pandemic was going on, I decided to take a few courses. I graduated from Kingdom School of Ministry with Dr. Cindy Trim. I also did a course on marriage and family counseling. But my goal wasn't to counsel couples, believe it or not. I was learning about the structure of marriage so I could guide women that are sort of in the gap without a bridge. You know, they have one broken relationship. Then they want another relationship, but they will go with all the broken pieces. And I thought, how wonderful would it be if we could be happy, whole, and healthy before we even go into another relationship, right? Get to know the things that were wrong. Now, for example, when I did the marriage and family counseling program, I started to realize in my own life, I was like, wow, no wonder I'm divorced. Because I didn't know these things. I didn't understand this structure. And now it totally makes sense. And I think a lot of us go through life without the tools. You know, we kind of just go through life, and then before you know, you have kids and you're married and all that stuff. So it was good. It was a good humbling opportunity to kind of find out. I needed to know answers. And I think it takes courage sometimes to look at yourself and say, all right, what was my role in my pain? Did I do something? A lot of people don't like when I say this. A lot of women say, no. But I wanted to make a distinction that, you know, your role in your pain doesn't mean it was your fault. Mm-hmm. It only means that you chose to take part in your life in a certain way. And that's what I discovered in this journey of wanting to help women. I said, you know, what if we could be happy, whole, and healthy? And if down the road we meet that person, right, then great. But if we don't, great, you're happy, whole, and healthy. And so for me, it was more about telling people that what we need to do is focus on becoming the person we want to attract, but unconditionally, without the tag that, oh, I'm going to become this great person because I want to find a man. And my whole philosophy is your second chance is not a man. You are your second chance. It's like what you just said about happiness. Happiness is a choice. Now, it's a little complicated, right? Because it's not as simple, right? I know this author from Venezuela by the name of Kenny Aliaga, and she said that something so profound. She said, we must not pursue happiness. We must find it and follow it. And I thought, how simple, right? Because the bottom line is there is happiness everywhere. There are blessings everywhere. So I think we need to be more, perhaps feel more deserving, feel more deserving of the blessings. Maybe that's one way to access everything. And also, I think, for example, I like to say, I don't really have everything that I want, but I really love everything I have. I think that makes a big difference. If we walk around looking at the things that we do have as opposed to the things we don't have, we become something else. We become a different version of what life, the way life presents itself to us. You know, what we perceive, is it really a problem, or is the story of the problem? Is it because your emotions are in the problem? Are they factual? Are they emotional? It's more about perception. So anyway, with that introduction, I know I went off on a tangent. So my name is Dea.
Okay, Dea. Yeah, the short answer was Dea.
Dea was the short answer. I went the long route because, it's one. I figured everybody I notice when they get on with you, I think they're so afraid they won't get another chance that they want to say everything all in one breath.
No, you will have all the chances you want. I mean, you're always welcome to come back and share because you know what are you talking about. There are some details maybe that I might not be so on the same page. Maybe I can have my opinion in another word that like you shouldn't pursue happiness. Of course, you there's nothing like pursuing happiness, and you can find it. There's happiness everywhere. That is true, but I think when you change the way that you look at things that you look at change. You need to know where to look for happiness, because happiness, as I mentioned, is your birthright. Is there. It's nothing to be found. Oh, I lost my happiness. You need to just find what you need to find is the reason of your unhappiness, and then you can you just sit with yourself and get over it again and talk about it. Either you can do something about it. Is this real or not? And if this is real, I can do something about it or not. Or if this is real and I cannot do anything about it, how I can continue being happy although this fact exists. And so the system, the mental, our brain design, the way that this brain sometimes it is our biggest enemy, I believe.
I agree.
It's designed to keep us unhappy and keep this treasure of happiness, they hide it from us. Like the donkey with the big pile of carrots. The carrot is on my shoulder, I don't see it, and there's just one carrot like hanging in front of my eyes, and I'm running through this carrot and I never catch it. The only thing, you need to pause, just slow down, wait, think, and just look back, look within, and you will find the whole happiness within.
I think that's what this author, Kenny, I think that's what she meant. Because it is really that profound, but there's a simplicity in itself, right? It's simple but not easy. And one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you, if I may ask, is the other day you made a comment about bravery and courage, and I sent a message to you and I said, I'd love to have some sort of a conversation about why do you think people they're more comfortable, even though in pain, they're more comfortable staying in pain. Why do you think it's so hard for people to seek happiness, because it might require a little work, maybe? I mean, what is your opinion about that?
Well, sometimes, because pain itself is an illusion. It's not some kind of like a yoo-hoo stuff. You can manipulate brain and stimulate the feeling of pain in your leg, even though there's no out sources for the pain. Pain is up here. Pain is a thought. It's not actual, some like even the outside pain or inside pain. Pain is a thought. As I said, we go back to our biggest enemy up here, the brain. But change is always challenging. And sometimes being in pain is even rewarding. When people around you reward you because you're in pain, and this is kind of like I call it like toxic empathy. They don't know how to, and they encourage the act of being victim. and you feel comfortable in your skin when you are in pain and you play victim and everyone gives you the attention that you're actually looking for. So why do you want to change? You will live as a victim for 50 years. Oh yeah, I am this, I'm that, and everyone gives you what you want, and yeah, so there's no need to change.
Mm. And do you think, in my journey, in my own personal journey, one of the things that I found it was hardest to change when I focused on, that's why it was an important question to ask. What was my role in my pain? Meaning, how did I accept certain predicaments, right? So it was really important to take a look at that, but from a standpoint of accountability, not blame. In other words, I'm going to look at it and see what my role was so I can decide how I took part in something. And then going forward, I can make better decisions. Now, I think that most people, when they are in pain, from what I can gather, even with my own clients, I see that it's more of a level of being comfortable with the pain, meaning this is all I know. So for me to change the scenario, I would have to redefine myself. I would have to walk differently, speak differently, express myself differently. And that can be a lot for some people because their point of reference is pain. It might be something from childhood. And some people go even farther back and they go into their point of origin, which is how did this start? For example, in my situation, I was severely beaten when I was 5 years old, right? So for me, if I had stayed with that memory, if I had not chosen over time to grow from that memory, but in the early stages, right, I wrote this thing in my head that, well, I'm not going to let anybody ever touch me or ever hurt me. Because if they try to hurt me, I'm going to hurt them. So as a child, I was hitting everybody. I like to hit people. If you came against me, I was going to hit you. As I got older, of course, now I was looking at my life with the eyes of an adult, and I decided that there was something that event in my life had a purpose for. When I got older, I understood, well, that pain had a purpose. What is the purpose? So, and then fast forward to now, and I have an understanding, a deeper understanding of that. But there are a lot of people who can't get out of their place of origin. They write those vows in their head, they make those decisions, and then that becomes later on a relationship with an abusive marriage, with an abusive man. And so we start to behave according to the product of a situation, an event in the past that might be a point of origin or the point of reference, or somebody may be watching parents who are in an abusive relationship and then they carry that forth. However, that's what they know. So if they start to mimic it, right? So I love the whole analogy that you gave the other day about courage, because I don't know if you said courage or bravery, one of the two. And you're talking about that we must not be afraid, right? That we in spite of the fear, we should still pursue the right things and do the right things. And I agree with you 100%. I actually think that bravery cannot even be anything without the presence of fear, right? Because it is that is the ways by which you overcome the obstacles in spite of the fear. So I just thought, wow, I'm so glad that you said that, because oftentimes people are saying, no, you can't be afraid. You have to be brave. You have to. But I said, there is no bravery without the fear. I mean, it's like one doesn't exist.
Bravery means you doing it while you're afraid.
Right. Well, that's great. I have to say, I love all your videos, and I saw your story briefly. Somebody sent me a video, believe it or not. Somebody sent me one of your videos when it's the story of how you started. You started on TikTok, and that where you came, and then you had to take all your exams here, and then you got stuck in Canada with the pandemic. And I was so impressed with your demeanor. I really was. I said, I think that what I love about your style is that you have a level of comfortability that creates a space for, let's normalize pain, let's normalize issues, let's normalize life. It's really a matter of, everybody is different. We all perceive things from our own pain or our own space or our own triumph, whatever it is. But the truth of the matter is, people aren't really relating to triumph. They're relating to our journey, right? So when you have a story to tell, when you have something that's significant, it doesn't have to be perfect. It can really be just your story. That's why when people get on here, and I've watched a few of your lives, I noticed that there is such a mixture of culture and situations and relationships and the way people express themselves. And I find that it's actually a beautiful platform because we need more of this. We need less of, it looks like this, but this is what it is, right? If you're broken or you're sad or you're depressed or you're angry, let's normalize that it's okay to fall. But also, let's say, how about this? One of the aspects of self-care, and a lot of people, when you say self-care, they think manicure and pedicure, massage, which is a part of it, right? It's a part of it. But one of the aspects of self-care that I love the most is one that I call tribe. A tribe is your support system. It's your village. It's not the person that you go to gossip about somebody else, but it's the person that's going to listen, the person that may even say to you, hey, I don't have the tools to help you. Maybe you should get help from someone who can help you better, but I'm here for you. My dad said something to me many years ago that really changed my life. He said, the best friend is not the best kind of friend is not the one that is there for another, but the one who allows another to be there for them. Because that gives people the opportunity to feel validated. You can say, even in a simple phone call the other day, I was having issues with my website, and I called this customer service guy that was tech. And after 3 hours, he helped me. And I was like, I said, if you hadn't helped me, I would have been lost. I mean, you literally saved my life. And these are his next words. Are you ready? He says, I'm so glad you said that. I literally was thinking about taking myself out. Like I didn't feel important. I felt invisible. Every problem that I tried to solve this week, I didn't feel like I helped anyone. People were frustrated. They were criticizing. But this phone call today, he put so much effort. He really, truly helped me. He saved me. And when I said it, he said, thank you for telling me. And so I tell people, hey, you know what? Don't be afraid of asking for help, because you asking someone for help may be that day when they're thinking about doing something to hurt themselves, but somebody comes along and says, wow, you changed my day. And that validates the other person. So basically what you're doing is allowing people to be there for you. And in turn, you also get to be there for other people. I think we learn a lot when we allow people to help us.
You mentioned something is just so related to something that I was just reading recently about shamanism. This approach of like holistic. It's not even holistic. It's Shamanism. I don't know. Like I'm not sure about the because I'm not so fluent in English the way that they pronounce this thing, but the connection of you to the nature.
You're talking about Seishonoye?
No. It's kind of like it's not a holistic approach, but
okay.
Shamanism or something. It's pretty actually more shamanism. Yeah, shamanism.
Okay.
Yeah, and I read this. I was reading something about it that when someone goes to them with like maybe feel unwell,
mm-hmm.
this shaman, that's what they call it. Like ask 5 questions.
Yes, shaman.
Yeah, that when was the last time you laughed? When was the last time you danced? When was the last time you sing? When was the last time you be part of a group, a tribe? You sit with people and talk. And when was the last time you told a story? And these answer to these questions will find the reason of this unwellness and that practice, I guess.
Very true.
Yeah, but like life is happening ups and downs, and that is so important that we don't take things for granted.
Right.
Yeah, so change is inevitable. So if we know that everything can change in a second.
In seconds. I mean, I went through COVID in April of last year, and I was sick for 31 days in isolation for 10 days, and then 2 weeks of quarantine. I lost, 12 pounds in 10 days. I was hospitalized twice. When my blood pressure dropped to 76 over 60, and the moment came, and I was just awake enough because I was in a resting type of phase, and I said to them, do not intubate me. They told me that afterwards. They said, you said, don't intubate me. And I said to them, then they asked me, why would I say that, knowing that it could have saved my life? And I said to them, there was a moment, and I don't know if everyone, and hopefully not everyone, will get to live that edge, but everyone has an edge. They have that moment where they reach that place of, you're going to fall. That's what it felt like. I was falling. I was falling out of a space, even feeling suspended in the air. And I remember that once I came out of it and I recovered from the COVID, it took a few months, and I still have some post-COVID things that are going on. But it was the moment that I realized I don't have any control. There was no control in that space. I mean, I was completely suspended, even from my faith. Now I'm a woman of faith, and for me, even my faith it sustained me. It definitely sustained me. I knew that people were praying for me, but I myself wasn't in the presence of faith. However, I was in the presence of something so strange. It was like, you just feel, it's a place of surrender. I mean, I was in the presence of love. Of course, I missed my kids. I didn't feel lonely, but I felt alone. Obviously, I was physically isolated. But, the interesting part is, once I came out of the process of healing, and I'm talking about major physical issues, I developed viral pneumonia. It was horrible. It was actually terrifying, if I may be honest. But, I came out in a different way. Aware that I have no control, but with a fire to fight. It's almost like I can't change anything, but I can do things and be different to have certain results. Change isn't the same as being transformed, right? So you can be transformed within a certain situation, which I think I came out transformed out of this situation, but I still have to get up every day and make the changes, right? The change is up to us. But I tell you, I received a phone call from the nurses. They call you every 2 weeks, and then they call you once a month, and they call you every 3 months. On my 6-month call, they called me and they said, we wanted to know how you're feeling. Are you depressed? And I was like, no, not at all. It's the opposite. I found, and it almost like I found fire at the end of this journey, right? I found, and like you said, don't take anything for granted, because when you say things can change very quickly, it is exactly how it was for me. It was very quickly, even though 31 days seems like a lot. But when you're ill and in so much physical pain, I couldn't think. I couldn't even catch my breath. I couldn't walk. I couldn't hold a cup. And every little thing that was trivial became an enormous challenge. So you come out of the experience and you say, okay, you don't have any control. Now I feel lighter, because all I have to do is take the steps. I don't have to fight as hard, because I do feel that it's up to God to move that rock. He's going to move it out of the way. I'm just going to do my thing. I'm going to do what I'm called to do. I'm going to do what I'm asked to do. And I think now more than ever, I feel, okay, here's a perfect example that from pain to purpose. You use all that happened, even the things that when I stood, not knowing, because that was the hardest part, was not knowing what was going to happen. You really like, oh, this is it. I hear them talking, change the machine, do the blood pressure 3 more times, bring another machine. Now 4 people in the room, they're switching me back and forth from side to side. Now I'm stressed. And I'm saying to myself, it's happened. It's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, just let it go. I said, let it go. I heard it, let it go. And I said to them, do not intubate me. I am ready. And that's when my blood pressure went up. Yeah. So I think that, we have a lot of things around us. And I think that's the point about when you say, happiness is a choice. It's a decision that you make to look at what you have as opposed to what you don't have. Love everything you have, even though you may not have everything that you want. Because really, I tell you, in that moment, I couldn't think about anything material. I didn't think about my car. I didn't think about a bank account. I didn't think about my home. The only thing I thought about was my kids, how much I missed them and how they would miss me. It was this love that I felt that was so intense. So if I could leave anyone with the notion that, yes, we must get up every day and do our best, but give yourself grace. We're all in some way or another in some type of journey, right? We're all in some type of healing journey, which is, like you said, healing is a process. But I said the other day, it's so funny because you did healing as a process, and I did one that was, there's beauty in the process, in spite of pain, in spite of struggles, in spite of what we have to figure out for ourselves, or hopefully with the help of others. So find the tribe, find the support system, the group of people the live video of the person that creates a platform for everybody and anybody be completely, and now you're so inclusive with everything that you do that it actually brought a smile to my face, because my podcast is called Love Most, the podcast today, and Love Most, the philosophy behind it is exactly that. It doesn't matter if it's a book, a podcast, a service, a product, a story, and it doesn't matter your denomination. Now, I'm myself a Christian, but I speak to everybody. There's never a moment that I not want to learn from what other people are doing. I think that if we allow ourselves to learn about other people, other cultures, other points of view, we're only strengthening our own beliefs, our own perception, our own perspective. And I think in that we can stand and create this puzzle that is humanity. Everybody has a gift. We all have gifts, okay? Everybody who's watching here right now, even if you don't have a book or a podcast, we all have a gift. We all have something to contribute to humanity to, and that's something that we need to be aware of, because times are calling for that now, right? I feel like, don't you feel like this whole pandemic thing was a moment of revelation, and now we're all like, oh my gosh, look at the world now. The whole world is going through something. And I almost felt like, you know what, it's so funny. My friends were all cleaning their closets, and I was like, what am I going to do for the next 2 years? Because, I mean, honestly, when the pandemic first hit, these are the words that came out of my mouth. I said, I think we've been given time to make time for the things we always wish we had the time for. It's like we're always complaining. I don't have enough time to read.
To see these things are really not happening because of time, or we just don't want to do them.
Right.
Sometimes we use time as an excuse. I don't have time to do this. Now you have all the time in the world.
And now you have all the time.
Have you done it?
I said, we've been given the time. Let's do it. Let's not worry about So it's definitely a transformational time, and I think that it's an opportunity for everyone to reset yourself. Look at the world. What if we didn't have any control? What if everything changes, which it is changing, right? And so, again, who are you going to be in this time? In these moments, who do we become? Do we change who we are? Do we perfect what we're doing? A lot of people had to reinvent themselves, right, and create a whole new narrative for themselves. The narrative, and when I say narrative, I say it very gingerly, okay, because a lot of people may think that changing the narrative is even saying something that's not true. You can't go with something that's not true in the narrative, okay? I'll give you a very simple example. So let's say, I'm sure you have heard this, right? People come in and go, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted, I could die. I'm so tired, I can't think straight, I'm gonna die, I've heard people say this. And I say to them, okay, here's an example, change the narrative. You don't lie about the fact that you're tired, because obviously you don't want to go, you're great, I'm all happy. If you're exhausted, you're exhausted. But you can say, I am so tired right now, but I get to sleep in a cozy bed tonight. I get to lie down. I have a home. I get to lay in a room with a warm blanket. And with that, what you're doing is balancing the stress, balancing the problem with something you're grateful for. Gratitude is the portal to more blessings. I think that a lot of times, too, when you said, people may have a problem with time and use time as an excuse, do you find that people use, a way of, they don't feel deserving of certain things? So their excuse is, well, I didn't go to do that, which could have been good for me because, well, I don't feel deserving. What do you think that comes from?
Fear of trying and excuse, like it's almost not being honest even with yourself. Things that you really don't want to do, and you use time as an excuse. People you don't really want to see, and you use time as an excuse. Changes that you fear to make, and you always use time as an excuse. And when now it's time, you can even be more miserable with thinking about, oh my God, now I have time, what can I do? And start doing some other stuff that just to get yourself busy. But on the other hand, you can now listen to yourself and sit and give yourself actually time to create your own standard of life, not what actually being told to you that this is what the life should be. Now you can sit and listen to your heart, whatever you want to call it, to your inner voice, to not the voice in your head, which is another illusion, but your intuition, to see what does actually make you happy and what brings you joy. So let's do this. and be honest with yourself first, and then this is what I am.
Is this a good starting point? I always wonder, and I think you're right, is this question that you just asked, which is really profound. What brings you joy? Because people are thinking of things that make them happy in the moment. These may be temporary things. Joy is something beyond time. You know, it's something that surpasses time. It surpasses your circumstance. It surpasses, it's that feeling that when you look or when you think or when you do a certain thing, it's here, right? You just know it. It's instinctive. It's like, you know, but a lot of people say, you know, oh, this makes me happy. Maybe a car or a bag, or, you know, I think it's actually a very distracting way, you know, in a Christian, from a Christian perspective, what people say and what I say, if I had to take and I'm not talking about religion, I'm talking about spirituality, relationship with God. When I think of my relationship with God, sometimes I think that what we see as best for ourselves may not be what we need. And so it becomes about the master plan, right? The things that we don't have control over. And a lot of people end up deviating the plan because they want to go with that, you know, things show up looking so good. The car, the job, the boyfriend, the relationship, you know, and the whole idea of belonging to a certain community. And they end up disconnecting from themselves. You know, they end up sort of like, I don't know, I want to use this word gingerly again. They divorce themselves. I have this philosophy that we divorce themselves long before we divorce our partners. But in a sense, partners, who are you partnering up with? It could be a bad marriage. It could be just the status of the rich, you know, the whole community or society. It could be a boss, a job. It could be a toxic family dynamics, right? We all attach ourselves to something to find meaning within ourselves. And what happens is we let go. We divorce ourselves. So we do it long before your relationship is over, right? Now, be relationship with any of those items that I just presented, even from a Christian perspective, some people partner up with the enemy. They believe in this life. They don't connect with the God within. So I like to say, you know, the most important thing, again, going back to what I said in the beginning, is we must become the person we want to attract, but without the condition that we'll find someone. Because if we become the person happy, whole, and healthy, we're going to walk through this journey, even in times of darkness, knowing who we are, embracing who we are, and understanding that sometimes things don't happen, not because it was from the enemy, it was because it wasn't meant for you, and there is something else better. Here's a new narrative for you. There was a point in my life when I was thinking that everything that didn't work out was a bad thing. And then one day I heard this this voice in my head that says, wait a minute, perhaps where God is taking you, He doesn't want those people there with you. What if it's like being saved by, like a lot of people say, oh, I got stuck at home for 3 minutes, and when I got down the road, there was a deadly accident. If I had left my house 3 minutes earlier, it could have been me, right? So we are constantly saved. We're constantly freed. And every time something doesn't work out in your life, you know, don't think that it's because it might have just been that you were saved, you're redirected, you're released from something, you're freed from something. So again, use everything, even the things that won't work out, and look at it as blessings in disguise, right? It could be something that deviated your plan, but maybe that plan wasn't the right plan. Maybe there was something bigger down the road, something greater, something that had more meaning to you. And again, why I think that your statement of find what brings you joy is such a profound statement. Because for as long as you know what it is that you're connected with, the more you know yourself, the more you'll be able to find the right connections. You know, the right books show up, the right videos show up, the right doctor shows up with the live and the platform. I think it's amazing. So thanks for sharing that. I think I agree with what you said.
Thank you so much. Sometimes I talk to my friends here, or sometimes I just have some discussion with clients, and they say, so how can I be happy? Or what makes me happy? I don't know. As I try to teach you, is just to find what makes you unhappy. The rest is just on you. And this is joy. Happiness. Joy is a manifestation of happiness. Happiness is there, and you just let it flow, and it brings you joy. And something that you just mentioned, to wrap up this beautiful discussion that I see everyone is enjoying it, about the reasoning of events, why it happens. Oh God, why this is happening to me? The accept. I believe you don't even need to know why. You don't even need to go down the road and see the deadly accident. You just accept it the way it is. The way it is, you need to accept it. It was this famous story about this farmer that his son, I mean, his horse ran away, and everyone in the village told him that, oh, you're so bad. It's a really bad luck for you. Yeah, we will see. I don't know. And the horse will come back with so many horses and like this black, beautiful, huge horse. And people in the village told the farmer, oh, you're so lucky. And the farmer says, oh, I don't know. Let's see. It is what it is. His son rides the horse and he falls and he breaks his leg, the black horse. Everyone in the village told the farmer, oh, this is actually really bad luck. The farmer says, hey, I don't know. Let's see. It happens. The next day, people come from the king, or like it was a war. They took all the youth of the village to the war, but the son of this farmer, he has a broken leg. He spared them. They didn't take him, and everyone said, "Oh, you're so lucky that you said, hey, come on, just let it be the way it is. You never know if this is what can like some event can be your lucky day, and the other day would be your unlucky. Just accept it the way it is. I say, yeah, that's it."
Right. When you said the question about the why, it made me think of something that I was told by one of my mentors is we ought to stop asking why and ask, what is it that I need to learn here? What is it that I need to see? Because we're being shown things, right, through life events. We're always being shown something. Sometimes when you say, no, don't question, let it be, it's sort of like accepting and just seeing for what it is. And maybe, a lot of times when we are in those spaces, that's when we discover there's a room for self-discovery in there. Because the why means you are going against what could have been what the prevention of something worse, right? You're sort of questioning what happened as opposed to it didn't happen, but there is a reason for it. So instead of asking why, I always like to say, maybe there is something that I needed to learn, something I didn't see it yet. I haven't heard it yet, and I haven't really understood yet, but maybe I need to look at it a little longer and just be with it, stay with it. Don't try to ask the question why. There is such a profound thing that happens when we are willing to learn, when we're willing to look at life and say, we don't know everything. I could tell you a million stories about my out of control situations when something turned from even when science said it was one thing, but God knew otherwise. When the geneticist told me that my daughter was abnormal, that I needed to abort her at 24 weeks of pregnancy because it was a 17% of chromosomes missing and that the pregnancy was abnormal. And then me saying, but wait, I said, I think that if God wants her, he will have to get her himself. But so there was the possibility of 28 weeks of gestation. It's very possible, very likely she won't make it. My daughter was born on a 4-minute labor and delivery with no doctors, okay? No pain, no doctors. I happened to be lucky enough to be at the hospital because we had a scheduled induction. And the induction was to prevent me from having the baby by myself because I have a history of fast labors. So the longest labor I've ever experienced, and that was with my oldest daughter, who's 34, it was 2 hours long from beginning to end. My shortest labor was 4 minutes long. And then the last labor that I had no pain, no nothing. I was just, it's happening. I feel the pressure. So, but that experience taught me that even when science, and I honor science, okay? I'm one of those people. I honor science first. But I think sometimes science says one thing when God knows otherwise. And I knew that for me, it was that whole thing about why I was obviously at the time questioning why I was going through it. But in the end, when I came out of the pain and the struggle and the panic that I was in, I saw that there was something else I needed to learn. And that was that the timing is perfect. God's timing is perfect. And so I say, in his time, all will fall into place, but in the now, nothing is out of place. Those are all lessons that I needed to learn. And now that I get to empower women, I get to talk about those stories. I get to tell my children about those stories and create a space for people to learn that resilience isn't something that you're born with. Resilience is the byproduct of an experience, right? So you have to go through something hard, survive it, overcome it, and then you say, oh, I'm resilient. right? You just don't wake up one day, well, I'm resilient, it doesn't happen that way. But anyway, I think spiritual, emotional humility are very good items, very good qualities to have, to say that you don't know everything. We really don't. We don't know everything. We don't have control over anything, actually, I think, except how we choose to take part in life. And that's where you insert the positive things, having a grateful heart, having a new narrative. Maybe you have to do a new narrative every day. It sounds very idealistic, right? When you say it, I'm like, how do you do that? I said, well, small steps, a little bit every day, have a good attitude every day. It might have to readjust your attitude every hour. I start my day every hour. I have to redo things every hour, around the clock every day. And if you can't, it's okay too. We're all entitled to have bad days too. So with that said, I want to give the room back to other people to join. I'm sure people are dying to talk with you, just like I was.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was a really nice talk, and I hope that you can join over and over again, and we can discuss all other topics.
Oh, I would love that. Absolutely.
Thank you.
I hope that you will. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I will hope that one day you can be a guest on my podcast.
Absolutely, my pleasure, of course. Yeah.
Yes, I would love to talk with you because I think your perspective, also being that you're from a different culture, I can relate to that. Coming from Brazil, growing up in a completely different world, we do have the tendency to see the world in a different way. Not that it's good or bad or better or worse than anybody, but different. And I think we need to normalize different. We need to put it on the table and say, hey, it's okay to be different. It's okay to come from these experiences and then create a new experience in another place. I think people need to feel more comfortable with that. So I will message you and give you some dates so you can tell me when you're available and I'll make it happen. Thank you so much for accepting me to talk to you today.
That was my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a nice night. Wow. So let it sink, guys. Let it sink. We actually had a really good, beautiful discussion about life, acceptance, happiness, and so many other important, actually, topics. So if you've already joined, please go back and watch this about 40 minutes, 37 minutes that we were discussing with Leah. It was so very interesting chat. Yes. And that being said, we have people from all around the world. Now we're going to Malaysia. From US to Malaysia. Nisha is here. Will be here. Morocco. Australia. And let's see who else is here. Reflection 36 360. That's Kosovo, India. Cancun. Reflection, if you're here, Canada, US, Canada, I don't know, reflection is not. Okay. Didn't go through. Let's see who else is here to join. Iran. Hello, hi.
Hi. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Thank you so much. How are you?
So I joined a little bit late. I'm sure that many people asked you earlier on how you are feeling. Everybody's writing in the chat concerned about your cough.
Yeah, the cough is much better. It's not 100% resolved yet, but thank you for asking. It's better now. So it's still like annoying, but I mean this is what it is. It's a
Clearing up a little
process.
bit each day. That's good.
Yeah.
You have some very interesting points, too many to name. But I liked in particular when she said from pain to purpose. It's great 3 words there. And I'm happy for her that she went through her experience and still is around to be a mom to all of the kids that she has. And so very interesting person there. So Doctor, I have a question for you about your post today. And I was hoping that you could clarify for me, I should say, because I'm not sure I understand, and I would like to better, your perspective on karma.
Oh, the karma was for yesterday, but yes, I was
Oh,
today.
was it yesterday? Okay.
Ooh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. On karma.
So what is the actual question?
So the meaning of when I read some comments to your post, it appears that people perceive it as something equally maybe negative
To punishment.
happening.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is not the point of karma at all. Karma means whatever you do, good or bad, will come back to you eventually. It's not just there to punish. It's sometimes there to reward. If you believe that everything you do will do unconditionally, this is actually the key of happiness. Unconditioned love and unconditioned giving, and at the end of let's say the black belt is unconditional forgiving, which is way more than uh, any other giving, I guess. But everything you give, everything you put on the table will turn back to you. That is not just for negative behaviors or punishment. I believe it's both equally for both good and bad. Sometimes even if you spend unconditional love, it will come back even hundredfold. Everything that is something, it was a, let's say anything you put it in God's hands, it multiplies. So karma is not just for punishment, if that is your question.
Yes, and that would be my interpretation as well. I don't know if it's potentially
Because the way that I know that the way that I wrote it, it was kind of like tricky. I know what you did. I know where you live. See ya. And that's actually it's a trigger there. That if I see karma as a punishment, I need to reflect back. I said, why? If I hear about karma and I smile and I'm happy about it. Oh yes, if I hope that karma is real, because I'm looking forward to rewards. I'm looking forward to, I even for myself or many other good people that I know. That's actually something that when you think about karma, or yeah, I know what you did. Oh, let's be honest. If karma really knows what all the things that I've done, yeah, so I definitely done something that I'm not so proud of, but I've done many other things that I'm so proud of. Maybe in like like when you put them together, I really want karma to find me someday. I really want them to know where do I live and what exactly I've done. If you conclude this and if you come up with this idea, you're doing great. That was a story about someone asked an old monk or the religious mentor if God really exists. And the monk answered that if the answer of this question is going to change anything in your life, you need a God, definitely. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. My thought was that potentially it's a translation to perhaps the majority of the people feel as if it's a payback for negative when it reads a certain way, instead of, as you put it, the love that you give, the kindness that you give, everything is a boomerang effect. So what goes around comes around, and it comes right back. So it's just interesting. I think it was interesting to see some of the comments that were almost gleaning a little bit of satisfaction that, oh, something terrible has happened to me by someone, so they're going to get repaid in kind. So my comment on the post was, be careful here, because we don't want to put out even that energy. The energy or the thought is the beginning of that same negative cycle. This is just my perception. But everybody, I think we each define it slightly differently. So anyway, thank you for the clarification. I get it, and I agree
because
with...
actually oh my God, this dear brain is recently... My brain never fails to surprise me with all this tricks that the brain uses. Our brain tends to remember the negative. There are so many people in our lives that they've done good things to us. But the moment we talk about karma, we remember on like the only that bad person or evil person or a couple of that. Oh yeah, I really wish they pay for what they've done. We never thought, oh yeah, I really hope that this guy or that guy or this that done the good thing to me. I really hope that karma found their address. And this is how our brain is designed. And sometimes it's the brain is so selfish. It's designed to keep us alive because it wants, the brain wants to live more. And so if you touch, as a kid, you touch 100 different things, you will never, have the feeling in your memory that you touch the hot stove, because it wants to keep you, to avoid you of touching this again. So that's how we tend to remember negativity way more powerful than positivity, or some maybe like equal thing, like even stuff. But so we need to just, that is part of the practice of meditation or anything like that. That the key point is to shut the brain down. And then you realize that you are not your thoughts, you are not your brain. You are above your brain. Now you can control your brain. The idea of meditation in any kind is to be thoughtless as much as you can. And then you see, oh, I'm not thinking about anything, but I'm still exist. So I think that is not right, that to say, I think so I exist. I exist so my brain thinks.
I think the word that resonates with me is the observer. We are the observer of the thoughts and of what it is that, who is the observer is not what we are, which is the will encompass the whole.
Absolutely.
Right?
We are the observer of everything. We are not our thoughts, we are not our name, we are not our family name, we are not our ego, we are nothing. We are just an observer. And things that you cannot, things that And your eyes cannot see itself. The observer has no idea about itself. You cannot say who you are. You are just an observer. You are a consciousness. You are beyond all these things that you can even define as yourself. I was looking for this part of, it's something like karma, like anything else in different cultures and different narratives. They're all the same. In Quran, it says, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالًا ذَرَّةً خَيْرًا يَرَهُ وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالًا ذَرًّا شَرًّا يَرَهُ. Whatever you do, good or bad, even that small, you will receive the same. It's in Quran. So it means that it's just all one thing, one narrative, one idea with 100 different, let's say, storytelling. But the fact is the
Concepts,
same. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for that. Yes, it's quite an extensive conversation, and like the previous lady, I feel slightly, selfish for taking up too much time and don't want to, but it's a great topic. So I'd like to segue just quickly to a point regarding the business piece that you had set up and did some Zoom calls with some folks. And I think I misunderstood it, because when I had listened and you mentioned that you needed help, I had wrongly assumed that you were looking for people to help you grow your platform, which means, which I was interested in doing and was hoping to be able to do so, meaning get you in front of businesses that have the same corporate ethos, schools, universities, hospitals, settings that would allow you to expand, nationally here in this country, where your message can be put out there for consumption, and whatever that might look like. So did I misunderstand? Is that your plan to expand at some point and broaden and continue to grow the kindness culture? Or did I have it wrong?
Absolutely not wrong. But first of all, thank you so much for offering your help. I really appreciate it. But it's kind of like so selfish of me that I ask for my friends or my people help for the help to grow my platform, just to the idea of kindness, like anything that comes so based on one individual, it will not last long appropriately. I mean, there will be corruption anyway. My idea about this business, I have tried or studied more than, let's say, 100, I can tell, over the last 6 months. I studied over 100 different business models in different platforms, different things. And I came up with this business model and this product, and because it will give people with the least ability of marketing or selling or like all this stuff and everything, with at least investment, to create a business and empower others. And this way, after 2 or 3 generations of this kindness mindset and support idea, they don't need me anymore. I can be faith. I can do anything else. That will be a legacy that I'm creating. And just for an example, this product itself will, with one, let's say, order that is placed, there is a possibility to provide nutrition, like high nutrition supplement, for one child for 4 years. And this child could be in your household, or you can give it to your neighbor, or you can be a volunteer and pack all this product and send it somewhere in somewhere that less unfortunate, less fortunate, maybe like somewhere in Africa, somewhere in like countries that war-torn countries, or that is the culture of support that I'm trying to integrate with the idea of this business plan, which is actually working for 30 years. But so that's how we do it on this Zoom calls, and that the team that I make. But I don't want to turn this calls or this live to sales pitch, but I really appreciate that you said that. Anyways, yes. So this is part of the business, because as I mentioned a couple of times before, there is no spirituality, there is no growth, there is no happiness when there is no financial security. Someone who we had this discussion on the Zoom call last week. That is, the idea of this business is to support single moms, because I believe that no single mother, because single motherhood is beyond my understanding, the sacrifice that is there in the motherhood. And I wish, my wildest dream, my biggest goal, my biggest dream is that one day there is no mother on this face of this planet that they do things that they don't want just to feed their children. And that is the biggest dream that I have. And this is a platform, the business plan is designed to, is not going to make anyone millionaire. It's not going to make you NFT overnight $1 million, but it's going to be a consistent, decent, respectful source of income with high, like the most respectful product with like hundreds of gold standard studies background and backup. Also, since we talked about it for the last maybe 5 minutes, if anyone is interested, please send me an email or DM and let me know if you're interested to join the team. We already developed a group on Facebook and WhatsApp, and it's going to grow even more. Well, thank you for asking.
Yes, you're teaching, it's the old adage, teach people how to fish and they'll eat forever, whatever that, isn't it biblical or something, I believe, teaching people how to fish. So yes, but that said, I mean, I'm not a passive individual. Yes, I've had some rough times and I have a little bit of heartache, but I'm not a passive individual with life. There's so much to do. And this, your journey and what it is that you believe in speaks so greatly to me that I can envision, and I do, and can develop a path to expand. So, and so if it's not to get into it at this moment in time, but my history and some of the things that I've done in terms of opening doors will speak for itself, including the United Nations. So I think the sky's the limit. I think that this is so needed right now in this period of time that to me, it inspires me to say, well, I want to work on this. I absolutely do. And therefore, my ideas just keep flooding in. Maybe I do something further and put some of those ideas in an email to you so that you can select if there might be an opportunity to, take a path. I don't even know about your ability to come over to the U.S. or not in terms of your flexibility to, or whatever that looks like with visa and things, but I'll send some information over. Are you open to taking a look?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay. Very great. Great. Okay. I won't take up any more of your time.
Thank you.
Other than that, and thank you for the explanation to everything. And wishing you the best of feeling better sooner than later. Thank you for taking my call as usual.
Thank you. Of course. Yes. My pleasure. Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you all for being here with me again. Uh, we passed the 90 minutes. 3, 2, 1. Now we just passed our 90 minutes. As I promised, I try to keep our sessions around 90 minutes, so at least someone go back and watch it again. And maybe it helps some other friends. I'm sorry that I couldn't talk to you all, guys. I see the list is here, so hopefully you can join tomorrow or the day after. We will go live almost every day. I do my best to keep it up, so you keep it up too. I love you all. Thank you for joining me again tonight at the Iron Show. And take care, be blessed, smile more, and remember, you don't need to know all the reasonings. You don't need to know all the whys. You just accept it. This is kind of like hard, especially at the beginning, but the greatest gift is the unquestionable acceptance. Good or bad, this too shall pass. The more you believe, the less you ask. The more you know, the less you talk. The more you smile, you don't need any affirmation, just smile more. Good night.